So let's talk about the music and the audio design in Dune Awakening. Both things that are, of course, incredibly important. And I do have two exciting guests with me now. Sitting here to my left, I have Knut Avenstrup Haugen, award-winning composer on several of our games, and also Arild Iversen, who is our audio director here at Funcom. Knut, would you like to introduce yourself quickly to our viewers?
Well, you already did it, I think. I'm Knut. I'm the composer for Dune Awakening, and I also did Age of Conan and Conan Exiles for Funcom. So I've been working with Funcom for actually 22 years.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Did you work on Anarchy Online as well? Or?
No, I didn't.
No,
that
not
was
on that
before.
One. On Secret World?
No, that was also someone else, but I started in 2003 with Age of Conan. That's when we first started working on that game. So it's a long time. Yeah.
That a lot of players here probably will recognize as well, like the soundtrack is absolutely amazing. And, as I mentioned, award-winning too. Yes. Arild, you would like to introduce yourself quickly?
Yeah, so Arild, I've been around here for just around 2013, I think. I worked on most games since then. I didn't work on Age of Conan, but I did one sound, I think. I did a pop-up. It was a level up sound.
You did one sound?
Yeah.
That's awesome, though. You can say you were involved in that, too.
So, now audio direction for Dune, which is pretty cool.
Awesome. So yeah, talking about Dune, we mentioned, Knut, that you have, of course, worked on Age of Conan and Conan Exiles. But Dune is, of course, very different in many aspects. How was it to work on Dune compared to the other games?
Yeah, so, for a composer, the most interesting thing is to be able to do something new, something different. That's always very exciting and kind of gets your get you going.
Juices flowing.
Yes, exactly. That's very exciting always. So it was. I was very happy to be able to start working with something like Dune because it allowed me to, both the Age of Conan and Conan Exiles. They have ethnic instruments and not just the orchestra, but I worked very much with the orchestra and other projects as well. So it was very liberating for me to be able to dive into a world where I could really work with synthesizers and sound design and creating sounds and manipulating sound and kind of create a new sonic palette that was very different to anything I had done before. That was that was, I think, the most interesting or exciting aspect about starting working on Dune. So there's also another aspect of it, and that is the music in Dune is more adaptive and interactive than in the previous games we've done with Funcom. So that means that I deliver the music in parts and in layers, and so I write complete pieces, but I also divide it up in parts and layers, and then Arild can use those parts to create new versions of the music.
Maybe it makes sense to go into that with you, like immediately. Also, like how do you? So once the music is delivered by Knut in layers, how does it get translated, or how is it going to be used in the game?
Yeah, I mean, we have a lot of great tracks from Knut. They were recently recorded in London, like you mentioned, and now I have, all the tracks, and they come in 40 stems, that is layers. The tracks separated in anything in the orchestra. It could be flute, voice, synthesizers, various percussion, and so there's the kind of the vertical layers, and then there's elements. I can break them apart. I'm not remixing them, but I can explore what's in the track and build it up with small segments and then into a large track. So I can use that for narrative, progression, and kind of the flow for the game. So it's really cool to work with. So yeah.
That's awesome. It's very cool.
Yeah, I mean, we use it, for instance, for in a special place we have now. I can combine certain elements of the music. Everything's in D minor. It's all in the same BPM. That's how we decided to do this. Do the music in the project so it can flow. and some of it has this kind of a little bit Trent Reznor-like sound to it that I'm not sure if Knut intended or not, but it's small. I find small things within the music I can use before we kind of evolve into the whole track itself. So.
To basically find the perfect area for some of these layers. And
Absolutely.
Also, you mentioned, of course, the recording. Thank you for that. We can just go into that one, because one of the very cool things with this production, specifically when it comes to the soundtrack, was that we were able to record at Ayer Studio in London, right?
Yeah.
And that's a big deal. And it was also, like you mentioned in the video that we just saw as well, that you were super excited to be there. Can you elaborate a little bit on that?
We have been very privileged to be able to record everything at Air Studios. It's one of the best recording studios in the world, and everyone who works there has been really involved in the project. They are the best you can find in the industry, the best musicians. So everything has been done at the absolute top level. So we have, so that is of course extremely exciting to be able to do, and we have been very privileged to be able to do that.
From what I understand, we actually had to kind of not push someone out, but we actually got a slot, which was very lucky
so
too.
The thing is that we decided to do it there at quite a late stage, but Air is a very popular studio, so it had been fully booked for 2 years already. So you need to challenge the booking, saying, okay, we can do it and we will pay now immediately. And then they ask the previous company that had the booking, are you willing to pay now? And if they are not, then we can take over the slot. So we were very lucky to find that slot at that time, because also Abbey Road, which is the other alternative, it's they have been refurbishing. So it was only one big studio in London at the time. So that was very fortunate.
Super lucky that we got that spot then.
Yeah, and lovely recordings. I mean, Knut did a great job already. I mean, we had the original, or we could call it the demos. I'm always a little nervous when we get the music back from the orchestra. I mean, we'll keep the same energy as Knut originally had. But yeah, I mean, it's amazing. And having these in separate layers as well to play around with in the music, it's great.
I've been very involved in the entire project process, of course. So it's very important that you don't just give things away and let other people take over, because they don't understand necessarily the vision, no matter how good and professional they are. You need to be there and guide them and tell them what to do. And so I've been following the process very closely throughout the whole time we're working on it. So I've been very careful not to let it slip, you know, and kind of get out of control.
That's great that you can have like creative control over
it's very
work.
important to have that creative control throughout the process.
And the exciting thing is that players can actually listen to the soundtrack specifically if they pre-order one of the bigger pre-order editions. So you get actually a digital soundtrack, including the amazing pieces that Knut composed for us. So I'm especially excited for that. And we're also working with Sony, who helps us in digital distributing it. Maybe something else that we're working on as well. But, anyway, so
working on the names for the soundtrack now. So that's exciting.
Oh, okay, yeah, the actual tracks. And then I can come back and ask you which is your favorite track back then, when we have names for the tracks, actually. Okay, okay, Arild, how do you support? Because Dune Awakening has a main story, right? And it's quite important for the game too. And there's a lot of narrative things going on. So how do you support narrative with sound design? Like, how do you do storytelling?
It's a good question. I mean, we have a lot of mouths to feed, I think, and narrative has the biggest mouth and the most important one, if I can put it that way. So, I mean, we have excellent writers, so they're doing an amazing job, and they're also very good at incorporating kind of requests for audio in narrative. We also have a lot of freedom, but audio is not just another technical layer, it's actually a narrative tool. So you can use audio to, you know, maybe convey what's racing through a character's mind, change in the moment, and in a quiet scene, we can take certain elements you see and turn them into a character themselves, or we have a lot of methods to kind of enhance and work with narrative, even silence, or same with music. We can use music the same way to kind of convey emotions. So we work tight together, and we review things a lot, and we
the most important function of music in a game or in a film is to support or convey emotional content.
Mm-hmm.
So any chance you have to do that with the music, it's very important to do that, and to kind of make an effort to tell a story with music, and also to convey emotional content. So that's absolutely the most important part of music.
It goes into immersion too. It's very important for the immersion as well. And if I just think about a sound design now as well, it's like I recently in the latest build I played through the paint box scene, like the start of the game, the character creation part, and I noticed there's now a new sound there that is. It's not loud, but it's very high pitched in the background, and you just notice it, and it's really. It almost gives me that like, ooh, dentist type of feel. It makes me like, ooh, clench my buttocks. No way. It's like, oh, there's something really like, it really grates you. And I feel like that is so fantastic to do that. And I think that's really what makes good sound design too. Or like we talk about, what is it called? The brown note for horror movies, right? Which is supposedly a myth, I was told earlier. So you can't
it's in there.
Make...
If people put on their subwoofers and good headphones, maybe they get a bit of those 13 hertz, but
we don't have it in the game yet, though, right? We maybe we'll have it in the game at one point.
We'll see.
So it's like, it doesn't actually do what the myth is. It makes you do the brown note, but it just creates this eerie like.
Well, there's this kind of the nuclear furnace in the stomach of the sandworm in the end of it. So
yes, talking about the sandworm. So how did you? Come up with the sound for the sandworm, because that is a very iconic thing, right?
Yeah, I mean, everything we do is an iterative process. It has to work for the game. Obviously, we're trying to align with the films as well. Amazing sound design in the films. The worm has its own language, but in our game, it's alive. So it's always moving around. You should be able to hear it from a distance. So we need to find a way where it actually feels good and it's not too intrusive, and that's pretty challenging, but we are developing a language for it, and it feels pretty good now. So it's raw and it's divine. I mentioned it before. It's not really a monster. It's a divine creature. It's part of Arrakis. So,
it's not, I feel it's not just the audio either. It's like the music builds up when you actually anger the worm, right, in the game. It's similar with sandstorms too. Like after a while, understanding of what's actually going to happen, just through the music, the sounds, the audio, and that alone is like very immersive too. Like it just gets you into the flow of things, and I feel that's also very important.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's what we're trying to do, and that's why it's important to be able to use the music and to have the music adapt to what's going on. So that also why we're working in layers and parts, and then we can start the music when we need it to start.
Yeah, it does, and sometimes it doesn't. It's really cool to work on. So right now we might have moments where you will be in a battle, you'll be attacked by NPCs, and then you have players, and then the worm comes on top of this, and there's different music coming around to be working on the balance, and it's pretty challenging.
Maybe one last thing before we close off this segment, the community. I personally really love it. Like you were working, of course, on it actively. So can you tell us what that is?
Yeah, in the game we have something called the Communinet, which is kind of the platform for communication in the game. In there we have a radio, and we have a fantastic team of writers. They've been making these radio shows that represents each faction. Really fun to listen to, and we have music too, which will pay some kind of tribute to the legacy of Dune music. So stay tuned for that. That's all I can say.
So you can turn it on or you can turn it off. So you can listen to your faction propaganda, like Atreides propaganda or canon propaganda. There's like podcasts and things. So as you mentioned, the narrative team has been really amazing, has done really amazing work on that too. And it's really fun to listen to those actually. Plus also, as you mentioned, music. So that's going to be very exciting.
And not the least, fantastic work by my designers and the team. So
everyone involved,
it sounds really
including the
now,
sounds and the music, of course. That is also part of that radio. So yes, Knut, to finish this up, is there any, or are there any specific channels that we can, Spotify, that we can follow you and find your other work?
Yes, well, I'm on Spotify. There are some things there, but much more is on its way. And I also have I've never been a social media person, but I've finally created an Instagram account, and I'm updating it, and there's going to be kind of steady updates there in the time to come. But it's kind of a new thing, but I'm there.
Awesome, that's great. I think from what I understand, we also have those links in the chat. So if you're interested, make sure to give definitely the Instagram a follow so we can build up his community there. And also check him out on Spotify. Knut, Ariel, thank you so much for taking the time. I'm definitely, both of you, very busy schedule. You, of course, with the project. I think you probably also with other projects. So really appreciate you being here. And yes, and we are going into our next segment, which is going to be monetization and our pre-orders. But before we do that, we have a short, beautiful video of Arrakis.